at last we're starting to take serious action to tackle climate change.
This is the first time that Australia will have legislated any sort of climate change target. It will provide certainty for business, for households and for governments to finally start acting on climate change and take climate change away from being a political football.
This is great news for solar. In fact, this will put solar on steroids in Australia.
This is a package which can help break political, investment and climate deadlocks.
You can't have a climate and carbon farming initiative without valuing the carbon stored in a tree. We think that this has been very soft on the logging industry.
But we think this is a balanced package and it's a solid and important step forward, and it's a step our Parliament should take on behalf of all of us and our children right now.
Because the carbon price is so low and because of the high level of compensation, this alone won't be enough to move us towards a renewable energy future.
This package has very important elements which reinforce the price on pollution. It has initiatives in renewable energy, it has initiatives in energy efficiency and carbon farming, all of which can help Australia get off the drip of carbon pollution.
Right in the middle of this package, we still have problems with fuel subsidies for loggers. We still have problems with the amount of destruction, mindless destruction of something that actually cools and cleans the planet. We have to get to the guts of this.
We really need to look at why we're doing this in the first place. And that's because climate change is threatening the future of young Australians, and we need to reduce our pollution to levels that will give young Australians the same safe climate for their future as our parents and grandparents had before us.
Introducing a price on carbon and complementing that with renewable energy and energy efficiency investments has the potential to turbocharge the deployment of clean energy in Australia and bring renewable energy and energy efficiency to all Australians.
We need to bite the bullet here. It's a heart with a hole in the middle.
So Greenpeace is calling for an emissions performance standard that will mean that all new power stations are required to be very efficient and that will rule out any dirty power stations into the future.
Look, we think this is a really good framework to start with. And we think there's some really good review processes, especially with the legislated 2050 target of 80%. It could be a little bit higher, but it will really start putting Australia on the pathway to reduce its pollution.
We're very excited about the introduction of a Clean Energy Finance Corporation with some $10 billion of investment that can support those early stage technologies.
For the first time, Australia has laid out a plan that will lead us, ultimately, to a 100% renewable energy future.
Like geothermal, like ocean energy and like large-scale solar power to help those technologies prove themselves and to become cost competitive and to play a key part in Australia's energy future.
The first bricks of that plan have been laid, and that's an enormous step forward and one that we warmly welcome.
And we also call for an end to the $7 billion worth of fossil fuel subsidies that are still in place and that are putting the wrong message to our investment. And those subsidies should be invested into cleaner technologies.
But when you look at the strong boost to renewable energy and energy efficiency in this package, I think taken as a whole, it's going to make a serious difference. And it's a very important step forward.
Well, this is always about a transition. We're about making the switch from a carbon pollution dependent economy to a cleaner economy. And we've got to do that with eyes wide open and to do that in a fair way.
If you love the Great Barrier Reef, if you're worried about droughts, water shortages, bushfires, and the climate that we hand on to our children, this package is a really important step forward. We need to get on with that job and take action.
Politicians have squabbled about carbon pricing for a decade. In fact, this scheme will start almost half a decade after John Howard committed to a limit and a price on pollution and emissions trading scheme.
Australia is one of the highest per capita emitters in the world, and we also have a very resource-intensive economy. So this means at the world stage, in terms of getting global agreements, what Australia does actually makes a lot more difference than the size of our population might suggest.
But we have 60,000 members all across the country, and today they're in their their homes and in pubs watching the announcement, and they've been telling me that they're just so pleased that Australia is finally starting to do something about climate change.
This is a package overall which is an important step forward and should be supported.
It's really important that Australia takes this important step, but we will need to do more in order to do our contribution to a future for all of our children.